Hello, people. I'm the Comic Book Gamer, and this is my spoiler review for Batman v Superman. So, if you have not seen the movie and you're worried about spoilers, leave now because I'm going to be spoiling everything. Anyways, let's get into it. So, where to begin? So many things to talk about in this movie because there's just tons of crap that's just thrown in here. It's mashed all together. So, Superman, he's my favorite superhero of all time. I figured it'd be a good spot to start with him because he's what I was most excited about in this movie. So, in the beginning, he's very conflicted about everything ever. Any decision, anything. He's not certain about a thing, which is what I thought the first movie was for. I thought Man of Steel was the learning experience. I thought that was where we got to see Superman grow. And in this movie, we were more promised an actual Superman, because the first movie, he was way more like Superman than he is in this movie. In the first movie, I thought, okay, he's not quite Superman. He's almost there. He's learning. He doesn't save Jonathan Kent. A lot of people thought that was a stupid part of the movie, but if you think about it in a different way, for instance, he doesn't save Jonathan Kent because he doesn't act. His father tells him not to, and then in the end, he kills Zod, because he was afraid of not acting and other people dying, like with what happened with Jonathan Kent, what happened with his father. He didn't act. His father died. If he didn't act with Zod, then people were going to die. So he decided to kill Zod, and he acted upon it. And we see that decisions were made, and he was learning. It's a learning experience. It's like, okay, lots of destruction happened. Maybe he's gonna learn. Nope, he didn't learn a thing, because in this next movie, he gets 3 pep talks at least, maybe more. He gets 1 from Martha Kent. He gets 1 from Lois Lane. He gets 1 from his hallucinating dad. Also, I think it's funny how many hallucinating scenes there are in this movie. Like, Batman is hallucinating constantly. Like, he's constantly tripping balls, and he's just like goes with it. He goes in those dreams and he murders those dream people. Superman sees his dead dad and he's like, what is going on? Batman goes in there and he's like, okay, it's just a normal Tuesday for Batman. He's just tripping balls. Like, this Batman must be addicted to fear gas or something, because he's just constantly hallucinating about stuff. But anyways, back on track to Superman. So yes, he's not certain about anything. He doesn't know how to make any decisions himself or anything like that. He's just very conflicted, and I get that. But I would have liked to see more of an actual Superman in this movie, because that's more of what we were promised. A lot of people complain that, well, he wasn't Superman in the last one. And to me, it made sense that he wasn't quite Superman yet, because it was him still learning. But in this one, he's not even close to being Superman still. He's farther away than he was in the other one. He didn't learn about anything. There's just as much, if not more, destruction in this movie. The only difference is there's no people in the buildings he's destroying. That's the only difference. In this one, he does maybe more property damage than the first one. Like, he throws Doomsday, and then a billion explosions go off. But don't worry, there was no one in those explosions, so it's all good. And, yeah, it's just, he didn't learn anything. He's still this rookie, and it was just, I wanted to see a Superman that learned something from Man of Steel, instead of just him questioning himself every 2 seconds, being like, I need a pep talk because I feel down. And I didn't like that. I like the Superman from the comics who has to overcome things, who has to deal with things. This Superman just felt down a lot. Now the fight, Batman versus Superman. This fight, even if Batman was my favorite superhero, I still would believe this fight would be very disappointing, because it was so short. Like, most of it I'd already seen in the trailers. There was hardly anything from this fight that I had not seen in the trailers. Just a lot of it was just footage that I'd already seen. So I was like, okay, and I'm waiting for this to happen. Okay, that happened. And I was watching, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but this doesn't even match the Smallville fight or the final Zod fight in Man of Steel. And this is supposed to be the fight of this movie. It's called Batman v Superman. It's supposed to be the fight. And they just, like, I would have been fine with Superman losing if they would have done it in a certain way. I would have been fine with it, because I liked how Superman came in and he's like, I need your help to find my mom, even though that made no sense, because he found Lois Lane when she was in the middle of nowhere earlier. And to everyone who's like, well, Lois told him or something like that. No, she didn't. You see how surprised she was when he showed up? She was like, oh, because she was freaking out, and then Superman showed up, and she's like, okay, it's all good now. I'm safe. So she obviously did not tell Clark. Clark didn't know she was there. He didn't know where she was. He just found her, to where he knows exactly, he knows the city where his mom is being held, where Martha's being held. It's like, oh, can you use my X-ray vision? Go there. And if he uses his X-ray vision, there's a giant building that's just full of lead, and he's like, I can't see that building. That's probably the one she's in. It's just, I mean, yeah, that's probably where she's at. But anyways, I'll get into motivations and things like that in a bit. I want to talk about the fight itself. Superman lost embarrassingly bad. It was just, it was so bad how he lost. It wasn't anything like they were trading blows and then Batman got like a shot or anything like that, or like Batman got the final shot. No. there were hardly any parts where Superman was actually doing good in this fight. In the beginning, when Batman had it planned. Also, what the heck was Batman's plan? If Superman would have knocked him into the building to the left, it would have all been over. Batman's plan would have gone downhill fast, and he would have been done. Batman's like, oh, it's over. But his plan all hinged on Superman hitting him through specific buildings down to a specific part. And, yeah, it was stupid. And Superman's just like, okay, I'll do that. There couldn't possibly be a trap over there. That was just, it was so stupid how they did that. Again, I like how Superman comes in and he's like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to fight you. If I wanted, you'd be dead already. I'm not trying to kill you. And Batman's just trying to kill him. Batman's freaking out. He's like, I gotta kill this crazy alien. But Superman's like, I just want you to help me find my mom. I like that. Again, it makes no sense that he needs help finding his mom. That was really stupid. But still, I like the fact that Superman went in like that. But the fight itself, like the part that made me the most angry was when they're in the that one area and Batman is reloading his grenade launcher with kryptonite. Superman's there. He could hit it with his heat vision. He could throw something at it. He could fly somewhere because he knows Batman's going to try to hit him with that. Instead, he just jumps at him. It's like, really? What was that? What were you expecting to happen? Then he gets hit by the kryptonite grenade again, and it's all over from there. And then Batman takes his body and drags it through, stomps on his neck, and has a spear on his face. That's really embarrassingly bad to lose by. That's not respecting the character of Superman at all. I mean, really, you think they would have done that to Batman or Wonder Woman? No, they didn't. But Superman, we could stomp all over the S all we want because it means nothing. Superman's not cool anymore. People don't like Superman anymore. We can do whatever we want. And it's really disappointing to me as a Superman fan to see stuff like that happen. Again, I would have been fine if Superman lost, but not like this. This is bad. This is so bad with how Superman lost. I would have been fine with Superman losing, like, say, he goes in there and Batman has all these plans to kill him, and Superman's just like, I don't want to fight, man. And, like, they would have given an opportunity where, like, Superman could have beat him, and Superman's just like, listen, I don't want to even knock you out or anything, I need your help or something. And then Batman takes a sucker punch or something, and that's how it is. But to have him drag Superman through the rubble and then stomp on his throat, that's awful. That's completely disrespecting the character. Now, if Batman is your favorite superhero and you don't really care for Superman, I 100% understand why you love this movie, because Batman is awesome. He kicks butt. He's great. Ben Affleck kills it. Batman is the best part of this movie. He's really cool. But if you're a huge Superman fan, if he's your favorite character, then you most likely won't like this movie, or you most likely don't. If you do, that's good for you. I just don't understand how, with how bad he was treated. And not only that, but they added injury to insult because they had Batman do all that, just completely disrespect Superman, and a bunch of crap like that happened. And then they kill him off in the end in one of the stupidest ways possible. First off, he has a fight with Doomsday. He gets nuked, which we see now he's at the power level of, like, New 52 Superman, because pre-New 52 Superman, nuke wouldn't really mattered. It's not a fun day for pre-New 52 Superman, but it's not going to kill him, to where this one basically did, and then the sun healed him. And that's what happened. We saw with Superman, Wonder Woman in the New 52, that book. They got nuked. But anyways, they're fighting, and then Superman, he kills Doomsday. And the way he does it is retarded. It's really dumb how they had it happen, because in the comic, what was so amazing about Superman and Doomsday fighting and Superman killing Doomsday was the fact that no one else could do it. Superman was the only one who could do it. Superman was the only one strong enough to do it. But in this, there's nothing special about what he did. Even Batman could have stabbed him through with that kryptonite spear. Anyone could have done it. There's nothing special about it. It's just the fact that Superman had the spear. There's nothing special there. It's just, oh, well, he's the one that, stabbed him with it. There's nothing special there. To where in the comics, we saw that Superman's the only one that could do it. Heck, Wonder Woman went all out. She said she's not holding back on Doomsday, and then she started getting really mad because it's just like, fall! And nothing happened. We saw in the comics, Wonder Woman doesn't stand a chance against Doomsday every single time she went against him. Like, Doomsday just destroys her. And in this, she cuts off his arm, and she's beating him up a lot, and he gets like one hit on her. It was ridiculous. The Doomsday fight was so disappointing. Also, Doomsday, even when he evolved, he looked really stupid. He never looked like comic book Doomsday to me. He just looked, he looked retarded throughout the entire thing to me. I mean, that's my opinion. I didn't like the way he looked. And also, he's a bit too tall. Like, he's not supposed to be that much bigger than Superman. He was humongous in this movie, but I guess that's just what they were going for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, them killing Superman was a completely huge missed opportunity, which is what this whole movie was. But anyways, Superman, Death of Superman. I wanted to see a Death of Superman movie so bad. It would have been so cool to see. I would have loved Zack Snyder done it, the Man of Steel crew to do it. And if this was like the same crew that did Man of Steel, if they could have done it like they did, understood the character, Death of Superman movie would have been great. Would have made tons of money. But in this, they shoehorned it in at the end. And it just felt like it was out of place. And really, you're going to put an event that big at the very end of a movie called Batman v Superman? What? I also loved how this movie is majority a Batman movie. Then at the end, they're like, no, it's a Superman movie. Like, it made no sense, because majority of the movie, you're learning so much stuff about Batman, which I had no problem with. I thought it was cool. Batman was, like, my favorite part of the movie. You're learning a lot of stuff about Batman. You're following him around. And then at the end, it's like, oh, no, this is about Superman. Because you see all this different stuff, because Superman dies, and then they go all into Superman. It's like, last like 5 minutes, it's Superman's movie. What? The rest of the movie wasn't Superman's movie, it was all about Batman. This doesn't make any sense. Also, there's all the different storylines in here, like Wonder Woman trying to find a picture. Who cares? I don't care about that. Like, Wonder Woman trying to find a picture? What? Yeah, gotta find that picture, gotta make sure no one recognizes me. I mean, she avoided being in public. If she never came out in public, what would that picture matter in the first place? But just her finding a picture isn't really an interesting storyline or anything that needed to be in this movie. They could have cut that out completely, and the movie would have been better for it. They still could have had Wonder Woman in it. Like, it would have been better if they would have just cut that part out completely. It'd be like, hey, Wonder Woman's not searching for a picture anymore. It's like, hey, guess what? That just makes the movie better. It doesn't take anything away. It's just taking away unnecessary things, which there's a lot of unnecessary things in this movie. But what about motivations? Because there's not really a whole lot of good motivations for anything in this movie. Like, Batman's got good motivations for wanting to take down Superman because he was there the day of Metropolis, and so I liked his motivations. But everyone else was really stupid. Like Lex Luthor, he doesn't like gods because, like, he asked God for something once and God didn't respond, and he was like, I don't like gods now. I was like, okay, good for you, Lexi boy. I like that. It made no... again, I've been saying that a lot because that's how I felt a lot about this movie. There was just stuff that didn't make sense. And then when he's like, okay, I've captured your mother, the real woman that means something to you, so, you better go bring me Batman's head, otherwise she dead. And so he goes to fight Batman instead of just flying up using his X-ray vision and be like, she over there, and just flying over there and get her. Because Batman was able to go in there and fight tons of guys before she got fried. Like, that dude was sitting in the room with a flamethrower. He could have killed her 20 times over, but instead he's like, nah, I'm going to wait for Batman to get in this room. It was so stupid. Even if the time limit hadn't gone up yet, if you hear your guys getting beat up, you're like, yeah, I'm going to fry this old lady. It didn't make sense. Superman could have gone over there and done it. Instead, he's like, Batman, I need your help. Help me find my mom. He found Lois when she's in the middle of nowhere. He could have done this. Also, it really bothered me when we got that montage of Superman saving people and he was just floating there above them like a complete D-bag. Like, he's just floating there like, should I save you? Just look at how much I look like Jesus right now. It was moronic how they did that. I didn't like that. Superman wouldn't just be sitting there floating, and yeah, I really did not enjoy that at all. But again, the overall story for this movie has me confused because I don't really know what it is. It's like, okay, so Batman wants to fight Superman. He wants to take him down because he believes he's a threat. But then Luthor wants to take Superman down because he doesn't like gods, and so he sort of sets up a fight, except not really, because, like, Batman wanted to fight him in the first place, just Superman didn't want to fight him, but then Superman sort of did, because he went in front of the Batmobile, and he's like, the Bat is dead, bury it, and then he's like, that's done, I'm done with that stuff. And then he gets forced to fight him later. And it was just, the story was real convoluted, and there wasn't really a story. And then you got the background, the Justice League, like the Flash appearing, and you got the whole apocalypse flashback happening. Well, not flashback, flash forward. And it was like, what? What is going on here? Again, Batman's tripping balls every 2 seconds, and it's just normal for Batman. It's like, what? I love that sequence, by the way, where we see the paradigms and everything. That was awesome. I love that. One of my favorite sequences in this movie, when Batman's just murdering people. He's just killing everyone, taking the guns and just killing everyone he sees. I love that. Personally, murder Batman. I don't really like it's okay. I would have preferred him not to kill because I thought we were going to get more of a comic book Batman, but I half expected him to kill because of the trailers. But I was like, you know what? Zack Snyder seems to be wanting to bring a more comic book Batman to the big screen for once, so maybe he won't kill him. Nah, he's killing just like every other Batman. Christian Bale Batman was like the closest to the moral code. He only killed when it was a hard choice, sort of like Man of Steel. To where this Batman, he just, if it happens, it happens. You know, I shot the tank and then it exploded. The explosion killed him, not me shooting the tank. So it's all good. But yeah, just Batman was great. That fight scene where he saves Martha Kent is awesome as well. There's not a whole lot of positives I can think about this movie because there's so much that's just negative. Because again, I'm a huge Superman fan, and so seeing him like this was just stupid, especially because he was so great in Man of Steel. I like Clark Kent. I like Clark Kent a lot. I liked how he was just like, okay, I want to do the right thing. This bad guy's doing bad things. Someone needs to stop him. And then Perry White was like, no. And I love Perry White as well. Lawrence Fishburne killed it as Perry White. Scoot McNairy's character felt really shoved in there. Like, hey, we need a plot point. We need something. So Scoot McNairy, you lost your legs, and now you want revenge or something. And then he blows up. And that was so obvious. When Lex gave him that chair and then he sent him in there, I was like, yep, it's going to explode. And it did. Surprise, surprise. Something that really disappointed me was the fact that this movie played out exactly like the trailers would had you believe. And I didn't know if that was going to be the case when I went to the movie because I saw a lot of fans saying it plays out nothing like the trailers. But then I saw a lot of reviewers saying that it plays exactly out like the trailers, like you would think it would. And it actually did to me. When I watched the movie, it was exactly how I thought it would be from the trailers. There are very few parts I did not see coming. Like the nightmare sequences were basically it. Those were the things I was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know what's going on. That's basically it. Everything else, I'm like, yep, check that box. I knew that. Okay, that's cool. And yeah, that's basically it. I knew how things were going to go down. Like when Superman picked up the spear, I was like, okay, he's going to go die and kill Doomsday. Yep, knew that was going to happen. Then it happened, which is really disappointing for me because for me, DC movies are the ones with the more complex stories and hard to predict, to where Marvel movies are generally the ones that are really easy to predict. Like they have very predictable storylines. And that wasn't the case in this. In this, I was able to predict most of what happened. Like in Man of Steel, I had no idea Zod was going to die in the end. Like at that final fight, it was very intense because of like, what's going to happen? How's this going to like, he can't throw him in prison. What's going on here? How's he going to defeat this guy? They just keep punching each other, but no one's getting worn out. And then he snaps his neck. And I was like, oh, crap. He just killed Zod. I did not see that coming. And in this, I saw pretty much everything coming. The Justice League cameos I thought were okay. I like Flash's first cameo. I thought that was cool. Besides the fact that they went all injustice with it. And he was just like, okay, I know Lois is the key. You were right. It was like, oh yeah, that's real original. Haven't seen that before. If you're going to borrow something from the comics, why don't you borrow something better than Injustice? Like it said, they borrowed from the video game or the comic book spinoff, and it's just like, okay, why would you do that? They try to shove too much in here again. Like I said, they try to make it Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman, which are both huge storylines that need to be told on their own. Like that's very, again, disrespectful to Superman trying to do it like that. Trying to just shoehorn Death of Superman in. One of the biggest Superman storylines of all time, arguably the biggest Superman storyline of all time, and just shoehorning it in the last like 5 minutes of the movie. That's not acceptable. But not only was Superman ruined in this movie, but a lot of his characters were as well, such as Doomsday. The way it was created was weird. I didn't like it. How Lex just goes in there. You think he's a really smart guy. He's got this Kryptonian technology. Okay, what's he going to do? This could potentially be awesome, seeing what he does here. He cuts himself, throws it in some water, and throws Zod's body in there. It's like, how to basic. There you go. That's how to make a Doomsday. It was really idiotic to me. I don't know why they decided to go with that for Doomsday's origin, especially since he has such a cool origin. And again, Doomsday just shouldn't have been in this at all in the first place. They just threw him in the last like 15 minutes of the movie. There's no point to it. It was just, hey, we gotta have the Trinity fight some big guy. Might as well be Doomsday, even though he's one of the most iconic Superman villains of all time and deserves his own movie. Deserves to be the villain of a movie. But instead, he's just a small part of the movie. That's just not very good. And then Lex Luthor is not Lex Luthor at all. He is a more zany Mark Zuckerberg. Again, he's Jesse Eisenberg. That's what you get what you expect. He's not like Lex Luthor at all. He doesn't really take a turn. He gets a little angry in prison, but his voice still sounds stupid, so you don't take him seriously. And he felt out of place in this movie. He didn't feel like a good DC villain, especially since I love Zod in the last one. In this one, we get Lex Luthor, who's just very flamboyant and not really serious. and he makes threats and stuff, and then makes jokes, and it's like, what is this? You're trying to set up this serious epic tone than this. It didn't work for me. Although I did like the tone of this movie better than Man of Steel, because you had, besides Lex Luthor, cutting Lex Luthor out completely had some good moments, some good funny parts that felt like they were natural into the world, not like just thrown in there. Not like how some Marvel movies, it's like, okay, really, this is a super serious moment, you're just cracking jokes. That just completely breaks it for me. There wasn't like that besides with Lex Luthor. Like, Alfred made some great jokes. There was some good stuff between Batman and Superman, like when Wonder Woman shut up, is she with you? I like that stuff. So yeah, I did like the tone better in this. But yeah, overall, really did not like this movie because Superman's my favorite superhero. I was expecting an awesome Superman like we got in Man of Steel, except this time more fleshed out and full-on Superman. But no, we didn't get that. We got a guy that wears the S, looks a lot like him, but acts nothing like Superman at all. He's just... This is not Superman to me. They just did a terrible characterization of Superman. It felt like they sort of took the animated series Superman and brought him to the big screen, because that Superman was just a big dumb idiot, and that's what I felt like we got here, a Superman that did not know what he was doing. And overall, I give this movie a 4 out of 10. That's being really generous for me, because there's so much I did not like about it. But there was some stuff that I liked. Overall, it was really pretty. Zack Snyder is a very good visual director, but this movie is very Iron Man 2, because it was all over the place. And I do blame the studio for a good bit of that, because, like, with Iron Man 2, I don't blame Jon Favreau, because the studio gave him almost no time for it, and they were like, hey, throw so much Avenger stuff in there, and I feel like that's what happened here, although that's no excuse for the Batman v Superman fight itself, and the characterization of Superman, that's no excuse for that. But as far as all the different storylines and stuff, I do blame the studio for that, not Zack Snyder or the writers. But anyways, those are my thoughts, full-on spoiler thoughts for Batman v Superman. It's a really long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Batman v Superman. All out spoilers, please. I want to know. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.